Hey guys, Don here. These are some lectures I'm going to be giving to the AAP PPM, and I wanted to share them with you first. And so I'm going to go through as many of these as I can. For you, if you're watching this, I'm going to put these up on Podiatry Practice Mastery for a period of time until they expire from Zoom. Then they will go into the Practice Mastery Academy archives. I'll divide them up into three different we're going to look today at how to use AI for automation and to increase your online reviews. We're going to look at efficiency techniques to make your office work smoother. And then we're going to look up different protocols and treatment plans. This one is for new doctors. So let's get into it. The use of AI and automation. The goal here is to use automation to request online reviews, using your online reviews as a way to bring more credibility to display and summarize your reviews on your website, use headlines for your reviews, and how to record them with patients in the office. So the purpose is to really get more online reviews than anyone else in your community. This helps build credibility and authority. Use them in your marketing, which I think is key. You want to repurpose as much as that you can do. You want to repurpose what you're currently using so it can do more for you versus just having them up on like Google reviews and never using them. It's better to use them, and then use AI and automation will make this a little bit easier. So it's not going to be staff dependent. Where do you request reviews? You have a lot of different options these days. You can request on Google and Yelp and Healthgrades and LinkedIn and Facebook. My number one would be to do Google, because Google almost runs everything in this world. And if you have a lot of Google reviews, or for example, if a patient is looking for you and you have 1,000 reviews, and your guy down next door on your street has 100 reviews, they're going to think that you're 100 times better, 10 times better. You're really not. But that's what their perception is. So it's better to have that. How do you do that? Well, you have to have, first of all, a Google business page. And so really you need a Google business profile. That's a little bit, I'm not going to go through that today. It's pretty easy. Google it, how to find it. Get your review link and click read reviews, and then get more reviews. This is what it looks like for me. Get more reviews. Here's my link to reviews, and then you can request this however you want. You can put this on Facebook, on WhatsApp, on email, and we'll go over a few methods of doing this. You certainly could put it on your Facebook, but I think an automated system works a little bit better, and I'll go over that. That's how we have. I have here, I think it says 3,571 customer interactions, but the reviews are like 1,000 reviews. There's 35 new reviews here in this when I took it. What are some ways to request reviews? I'm going to go over some of the manual methods of asking for reviews, and then I'm going to go through some of the automated ones. So these are some things that we actually do. I'll tell you the ones that we do. So ask patients to give an online review in our newsletter. We send out a weekly email newsletter, and occasionally I'll ask them to do reviews. If you want to see what our newsletter looks like, you go to centralmasspodiatry.com/blog, and you pull up the section that says newsletters. You can read all my newsletters that are in there if you want to see the format that we use. I found that what works best is sharing authentic things like personal information about the family. That's what the patients tend to like. I've heard some of these from other doctors. We haven't specifically done this. Using a QR code on the back of the door of the treatment room while they're waiting, they can give you a review. The only comment I heard about this is that if you're running behind, they also might give a review. We have one in our treatment little room in their pockets. There's some QR codes there that we ask them for a review. There's QR codes. You can put them at the checkout. I've heard some people, they've had a little business card made with QR codes. Ethical bribes, we've done that. So if you give us a review, we'll give you a pair of socks, things like that, as a token of appreciation. There are text methods. One's Weave and one's Swell. You can find those. They will send them out via text message. That's kind of my preferred method. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Send out to patient after the appointment. That's good. And then you can make your own QR code pretty easily. If you go to Canva, there's a QR code generator there. You can also go to Google Chrome, and that's pretty easy. I think I'm going to just show you how to do it in Google Chrome. And now this is my bonus here because I think sometimes we get overwhelmed with all these ideas. I would just pick one and do it. If I could pick one, I would pick only one that's automated versus not me dependent. But let me just show you if you're kind of caught up on these QR code things. So for example, I have my slide deck that I'm showing here. So if I want to create a QR code, I just go down here. This is a little 3 buttons on the side, and it says you can share, cast, save, and share. And it says create QR code. So basically that'll make a QR code for this website right here. So whatever you're trying to share, that Google thing, you can just copy that or you can download it. The only drawback to the one in Google is there's little, I don't know, it's a little dinosaur in there, but it doesn't really matter. No one cares. And they just scan that with their phone. I find that the phone scanner tends to work the best because they have to do it on their phone. Okay. So I would just pick one, do it, get some, if you don't have any reviews, some reviews will help. And I'll teach you later how you can use some of those reviews. There's a couple of pages that I've done that I use. This worked. It just didn't work as well than the automated system. This was one, it's my review page. So I had like centralmasspodiatry.com/reviews. And this is when I was asking patients to do reviews. I gave them an example and I gave them a couple of options here. I gave them this video option. No one really ever picked the video. I'll go over some better video options in the future, but everyone did choose this Google review. And on the second page, here's the same page, but looking at underneath it, here, you can see we have, here's some reviews here. So when you look here, this one's 550. I told you the other one was 1400. Let me explain the difference. We have a lot of review pages. So if you look at our review pages, we have a Google My Business account for both my offices. So I have Worcester and Westboro, and we have 4 doctors. So each of those have one account at each location. So we actually have 8 for the doctors, so 2 at each, and then 2 there. Why do we have so many? The reason is we're trying to take as much real estate online as we can. Try to take up as much real estate online as you can. And Google does allow you to have a doctor page as well as a clinic page. So that's something you might not have known, but that might help you. Since we're kind of amongst friends here, I'm gonna show you here. So here is our. These are the ones that I own. So someone has to be an owner. Okay. So my Central Mass Podiatry, Lincoln Street, Lyman Street, and the other doctors. And you can view the profiles, and then you can request different information based on these. Okay. You can see the new reviews. You can edit your profile. You can read reviews. So this is something called your business profile. You can ask for reviews. You can show different products. There's a lot of ways that you can use this. And then you can edit it as well if you want. You can edit the information that's in there. Others can edit it. Others can add information on these. So these should be up to date. I don't know if mine is perfectly up to date, but this is just kind of where you can do it. Okay. So that's mine. So automation, why is this the preferred method? Well, it's not me dependent. It's not me telling them they have to scan the QR code. It's not me giving them an email, because there's always breakdown. It's something you can have automated is much better. It's not doctor or staff dependent. Things tend to break because staff change and doctors get busy. Doctors get bored or distracted. So you want to link it to something that you already do. So this is what I call, this is not what I call, this is what James Clear calls habit stacking. I find that closing the chart or sending out patient education content, these are the 2 methods that we currently use. When we close the chart, I tell the patients, hey, you might get a review link if you could just give a good review or tell us what your thought. I don't even ask for a good review. I just say, could you just tell us what your thought was? And then also in patient education content, it'll ask how we did, and if we did a good job, it'll ask for a review. And these are both automatic. So I'm going to explain how this works. So the automatic ways, when the encounter is closed, the patient gets an online review request from Swell or Patient Pop, and then when sending out patient education information, there's a request to give an online review. So this is the company that I use called Patient Education Genius. It's about $100 per doctor per month, or at least it was when I joined. When a patient says, "How can I thank you? I'm so pleased," and I say the best way is to give us an on review and send other nice people like yourself. So we have to have these words in our mouth of how we ask for things from patients, but we have to be very clear. I want a review, and I want them to send other nice patients. That's what I tell them if they say they are super duper happy with treatment. This is the example on Swell. So in Swell, they get a little text message like this with our logo. Take a moment to give us a Google review by tapping the link. It sends out 538 invites, and it talks about how many clicked and how many gave us the review. And I find that if we preface it saying that they're going to get a review link, that always helps. So we try to get the staff involved. Actually, that's an idea right now. I usually tell them, but I should probably tell the staff to ask them. This is the other one that I use called Patient Education Genius. What I have here is I have folders based on conditions. And then within these conditions, I have different content. I've simplified it a little bit since I've done this. What I used to do is I used to send them a whole bunch of links. I found that got a little bit overwhelming. What I now have is just one link or one blog post on our website. For example, plantar fasciitis treatment process. And on there's a video and there's kind of the written thing and then links to other areas. I found that giving them too many things was a little overwhelming. So now I usually only send one piece of content. But within that content, they're going to be getting this message from me. And they can view the message. And then when this is the stuff I want them to review. And then there's a little pop-up that says, thanks for did you have a good experience? And if they did have a good experience, it'll ask them for a review. So this is another automated method. So now we're going to go into repurposing online reviews. Why should I repurpose online reviews? Well, it took work to get them. It helps build trust and helps with SEO. Repurposing is an asset in your practice. I think this is key. You can reuse this over and over and over again because it builds goodwill. And what someone else says is more credible than you talking about yourself. So I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to talk about my practice, but I want the other patients or other people to talk about it. And then that's ultimately called positioning. So the one that is positioned better is going to get more patients. So the patients that go online and they see your online reviews, or they might see reviews on your website, it's going to build credibility and confidence for when they come in. How do you use the reviews? Here's a couple of examples, and I'll show these. You put them on the doctor's page. So for example, if you have about me, we have 4 doctors, about me, about other doctors, I go and I select specific Google reviews for those doctors, and I put those on their doctor page. When the patient is going to see them on their doctor page, they can see some of those reviews. That builds confidence in terms of seeing them. This is specifically important for you new doctors that are out there. If they're just starting, it's good for them to get some reviews so they can get some credibility. Put it in the main homepage to create credibility. So on the main page, we have reviews that are there. Put it in your practice newsletter. So every newsletter, or at least recently, for the past 2 or 3 newsletters I send out, I go and grab some from the social, from the Google reviews, and I put them there. Once again, I don't put the patient's full name that give it. I just their first name and last initial. Post it on social media. So you can take it, put it in kind of little blocks with the title about what they thought about you, and you can put that on social media, and then add it to your welcome packet. If you don't have a welcome packet, this is something that works okay for me. I had a patient do a review recently that said, wow, there's no doctor that's ever had a 250-page document in the beginning. That's what I call my welcome packet. What a welcome packet is a really big PDF. It's called a shock and awe package. So when you go to my doctor page, there's a place where they can get my welcome packet. I'm going to show it to you right here. It's in a PDF, and it's a kind of a really big document, and patients can download. They never read the whole thing. But here is some information. There's a really big table of contents. And initially, it's just a welcome letter of a little bit about me, about my background in Brazil, how I started out as a magician, my journey in public speaking. And so these are things where patients just want to learn about you as a doctor. And then I have some of my courses or patient education information. And then a while back, there was something called Foot Vitals, and they asked me to kind of publish a lot of articles, and they actually wrote them for me and published them. And so I put all those articles in there. That builds credibility. And then on the bottom, there's something that is for Google, Amazon reviews. But before anything, I have a whole bunch of reviews right here, what patients are saying. And there's a link where they can go to see them on Google reviews or Health Grade. So I just took a whole bunch of them and I put them in here in the beginning of this book just to build credibility. So that's the first thing I want them to look at. This is my doctor page. Meet Dr. Pelto, a little bit about me. And then here are the reviews. One kind of super tip I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell it again and over. This is something I learned. I didn't know this, but when you use reviews, it's better to take a portion out of the review and use it as the headline versus the person's name. Use the headline, a portion of this, because many times patients scan the page and all they really want is the headline. So this is called a headline for the review. It's kind of an advanced technique. I was kind of concerned, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? But it really helps with readership because some people read everything and some people just scan. This is also on our homepage. Here are the doctors, and here are some patient reviews right here that we put. I just chose 6 of them. I could have chose 60 or 600. Here's my newsletter. Once again, same thing. I took the header and I put different things. So a lot of times I'll do the reviews based on what I'm talking about that day. My big key for newsletters is when you do a newsletter, talk mostly about what you want them to refer for you in the office. I'll do a newsletter section later on, but I want to show you my tip here. I use Google, or I use like notes on my phone. Okay. So for my phone, I have a monthly focus. And so these are things I want to focus on each month. And that just makes it a little bit easier for me for developing content. And I tend to focus on the newsletter, what I want patients to come in for. So if I don't want to see fungal toenails, I'm not going to do a newsletter on fungal toenails or do a whole month on fungal toenails. So my 12 months here are like in-office dispensing. That's one thing. Actually, this is from my PPM newsletter. I have 2 newsletters. And so I have here's my CMP newsletter, and then I have my archive. So once I do that, because a lot of times I'm just brainstorming on topics, and then once I actually use that, then I'll move it to the archive section. So the clinical focus is each month. July would be bunion, August is flat feet. And I also put a lot of topics under these. So September is plantar fasciitis, October is regenerative medicine, November is back of heel pain, December are braces and AFOs, January are warts, February office surgeries, March are forefoot pain, April ugly toenails, May are stress fractures, and so on and so forth. So we have different topics, and that's how we do it in our newsletter, and we just kind of go through them. I write them always in Notion, and then I have a virtual assistant that kind of posts them on and sends out the newsletter. So I kind of write them, they kind of tweak them, and that's how they get done. This is the welcome packet that I just showed you how I think it's good to have a welcome packet. It could be for your clinic, could be for you, but having a whole bunch of reviews in the first 15 or 20 pages is a good idea. Some more ways to use your review page. When patients, you have an appointment page, put reviews under the appointment page on that page, because it builds social proof and they're going to have more confidence to make an appointment. Add it to your locations page. So as well, in the locations page on your website, add reviews. And then this is the real big bonus. If you could take one thing away, and so if you get your first review and you want to use it, put a title to it, to get the best portion of it, put it in quotes. Be proud of yourself of what you've done. I know a lot of us, we don't want to tell people about us, but if we don't tell others about us, no one's going to tell anyone about us. Okay, so you could just leave these sitting on Google, but it's probably better for you to have them out there. This is my example of my appointment page. So at your appointment, what we're going to do, and I put some reviews on the appointment page. Here's the title. Once again, I wish there were more great doctors like him. Great overall experience. Would highly recommend. Dr. Feldman and staff are the best. One of the best doctors trips I've ever had. So I took a portion of it, not the whole thing, just a portion. Now we're going to get into AI uses of the reviews. So first of all, is something called an AI aggregator. So this is an aggregator, something that pulls the reviews from online and just kind of posts them. So it posts them in a nice style here. You can see that patient's name. You can see the Google reviews. This builds credibility, and this automatically populates with like 20 Google reviews, and there's like 1,400 to choose from. and it has like an AI generated summary. You can use this. This is kind of a neat way that if you don't want to take and select certain sections, you can just put this on here. I want to tell you a couple of things about this. The aggregator, it doesn't have titles. Once again, it doesn't have titles like the ones that I did. And also you can choose how many stars you want from it, but it also has a limit. So these tend to be what we call website add-ons, and you have to pay for so many visualizations. So for when you get past so many visualizations, it'll turn off, and you pay by the month for this little. It's called a widget. There's a couple. There's another thing called a testimonial slider, which is basically slides multiple testimonials back and forth. The one that I use is called Elf Site. Real easy thing. You don't really need to know any coding, and it's right in our testimonial section. You click testimonials, and it pulls this up. You can do it with Bird's Eye, Gather Up. There's a lot of different ones that you could use. So the benefit to this is you don't have to copy and paste each one, but the problem is here you don't have all of the titles. I think the titles are really, really important. Now we're going to go into how to get video testimonials or video reviews. So what I find is video many times is better than written, but some patients might not want to watch it. So even if you do have a video, I think it's good to transcribe it or at least take a phrase out of it and use that as the header when you're sharing this video. When you're doing video, make sure you get a testimonial. I keep it real simple. I actually don't keep my cell phone with me. So if I'm going to do it, I have to go get my cell phone. So that's a little bit of a pain. If I had like an office iPad, that would be a little bit better, or just some type of device to record it. I get consent. I have a little consent that I give my patients. Get them about largest check items and not what you don't want to see. I know this seems obvious, but if you want to be seeing warts and you're doing Swift, you want to get review about Swift. And by the way, Swift will pay you if you do this and post it on YouTube. They'll give you like a free tip or something like that. If you want to do Shockwave, do them about Shockwave. If you want to do it about surgery, do it about surgery. So things that you want that are considered your largest check, do the videos about those things. And then once again, make it a conversation. So, hey, can you just tell me about how you were and how you are now regarding something? Like, how was it before your bunion and now your bunion is feeling after surgery? How was it before your heel pain and now you're feeling better? And you just want them to chat. I use a cell phone. You can also use an iPad or a tablet. And then you could also use your staff. So bring your staff in and just have a conversation with the patient and have them record the patient as they're talking. So that's another option. For patients sometimes that don't want to be seen, you could record yourself and they could just use their words in the video as well. That's just as good. And then sometimes if they really aren't willing, you could just tell the story for them. I really like YouTube Shorts. I just think it makes it a little bit easier. So you want to do prompting questions like, what was your experience like? How was your condition improved? I think shorts are the easiest because it's under a minute, and it's easiest to do with patients in the treatment room, and they'll actually get done, and you can just post them. What I do now, I'm kind of a geek when it comes to this, is I have a virtual assistant that helps me. So what I do, because what was bogging me down with YouTube Shorts is I had to record it and then put the title and then publish it. Now what I do is I record it on WhatsApp. So I have it's called a group with my virtual assistant, and I record just the video on WhatsApp and I post it on there, and then I put a couple of notes, and then they post it for me on YouTube. It just makes it a lot easier because it always bogged me down to think, well, now I have to think of a title and I have to publish it and decide when to publish it, and they just do all that. So the same thing when I do my videos for Podiatry Practice Mastery, I just post it on WhatsApp, and my virtual assistant is part of that group, and they do all the rest. And then you can also put titles. I use currently something called Submagic, SUBMAGIC, which puts subtitles. You might be watching this online and you're going to see a little portion of this with subtitles underneath it. For longer ones, you can share the journey. So there you can do longer videos with them where kind of you're telling the story and they're telling the story. You can do it together. There's a site that I was playing around with. I haven't got too many reviews with this. It's called Bonjoro. The benefit to Bonjoro, if you're not getting a whole bunch of reviews, it's free. I think it's up to 20 per month. You can get free ones. You can do video, you can do written. It's a pretty easy thing. This is Bonjoro. It talks about how to record it, make sure you have good lighting, things like that. They put their name, their email. They just put their information in there. So how to use video testimonials? You can place them once again on the website, I know it's obvious and I'm repeating myself, but you're going to place them in the section of the website that you're getting the review for. So on your section on the website for Swift or for Shockwave or orthotics, you're going to put the review, the video review right there. You're going to put it on your YouTube. You can send it out in your patient newsletter when you're talking about that section that month. You can send it out in your email welcome sequence. We have a welcome sequence. When someone joins our list, we send them some helpful things, and sometimes it's including video testimonials. You can take that same video, and if you have approval, you can put it on social media. That's always good. Once again, add a title and a quote to it. So maybe they're not going to read the whole thing, but at least you can get the best quote out of there and make that as the title of the video. Once again, titles I think are key because not everyone's going to read. We think our patients read everything. They don't. This is an example of one where this is a patient of ours, and this is a portion on Achilles tendonitis. And here is a patient success with Shockwave for his Achilles tendonitis, and he's telling a little story. This was a little 1 minute short I did right in the treatment room. Okay. So that is the first one. I'm going to pause now and I'm going to come back and we're going to do the next step here.